What is the weirdest thing you've heard or it happened to you while using a public restroom? I walked into a public bathroom at a beach and found a big bearded guy nervously staring at the ceiling above the stall while using the only urinal. As I stepped past him toward the stall, he screamed stop. Since his hands were full of dick, he could only gesture upward with his head. I looked up and saw a very large pigeon sitting in a nest in the corner. With a super thick Slavic dialect, bearded guy says, "Never trust a mother bird." He washed his hands, still staring at the nest, and backed out of the bathroom. In his defense, he did you a solid. Birds might fuck you up if you get too close to their nests. I was pooping and let out a really violent fart and someone outside said bet that burned and he sounded like Larry the Cable Guy. When I was a kid, my parents worked in a university as professors and I would go to their offices after school until they finished work and we would go home. Importantly, the men's and women's bathrooms were right next to each other. And they had the type of ceilings which are tiles resting on a grid-type metal grid. One day, I was about 10 years old, I went to the bathroom. I was sitting on the toilet in the stall and for some reason looked up, directly over my head. There was a guy looking down at me. He had climbed up from the men's side, removed the ceiling tiles, and was peeping at the female college students as they went to the bathroom. Apparently I was the first person that looked up. Dude, this happened at my high school, but the guy got stuck up there and had to get rescued, then expelled. When I was younger, high school age, I had been constipated for a few days. I got the urge while I was in the mall and went to the bathroom. It was empty when I got there and was having a rough time pushing this meteorite out. Then I hear some people walk in, a man and a woman talking, then they started making out. Now I was a pretty shy kid, so I tried hard not to make noise and be noticed. Next thing I know I can see through the crack in the stall that the girl is taking off her pants. I guess it escalated to the point where I was getting nervous which caused the giant shit I was trying to take to rock it out. They of course noticed, and she says oh shit someone's in here then they rushed out. Nice constipated co-blocking my dude haha. This girl was moaning in the stall next to me and I assumed she was masturbating so I walked by without looking. She called out help. It turns out she was moaning in pain and she was having a medical emergency. I called an ambulance. Do you know more about what had happened? I'm still not entirely sure, as there was a language barrier. She was an international student. At first I thought she was diabetic and had low blood pressure, but then it turned into possible period cramps, and the EMTs thought it might have been appendicitis. There was hot water in the toilet. Not that I directly touched the toilet water, but the whole thing was radiating heat. Edit for those who are curious, it was in a hotel lobby in Jacksonville, Florida. Pretty sure it was just hooked up to the hot water line instead of the cold. It was too hot to be warmed by the weather. The pipes leading to it were covered in condensation because the AC was on. The toilet refilled with hot water after it was flushed, so I doubt it was mop water. Maybe seeing you naked made it blush? Okay, so this reminds me of a story my uncle told me about one of his first experiences as an architect in Australia after moving there from Canada. He was called into a meeting with a bunch of other people, and in the meeting they got discussing the toilets in the commercial building they were designing and someone asked if they wanted to run hot water to the toilets. Why would you want to run hot water to the toilets? My uncle asked. A bunch of people looked slightly confused at my uncle's question and his new coworker answers so that people's hands don't get cold when they're washing them? Like this should be obvious. People are washing their hands in the toilet? My uncle asks. Yes. He was not aware that Australians refer to the whole room as the toilet. So they were wanting to run hot water to the bathroom so that people would have warm water to wash their hands. He got a lot of weird looks that day, and I'm sure everyone probably avoided shaking his hands. Interesting, we also, here in the UK, use the word toilet to mean bathroom, i.e. I'm going to the toilet would be a perfectly normal phrase. I went into a Target to take a pee. After relieving myself, it was a photo finish, I turned to wash my hands. In the sink, there was a goldfish in a plastic bag. Now, Target doesn't sell fish, so it was kinda odd to say the least. I could tell there was a person in one of the stalls. Concerned that this goldfish had been abandoned, I nervously asked the dude in the stall if this was his fish in the sink. A deep-ass voice boomed back at me, "What? I repeated my question, "Is this your fish in the sink?" There was a long pause, as if the Target pooper was trying to understand my question. He finally replied, "Nah, man, that ain't my fish." So I took it home, Had to buy a whole setup, tank and filter, etc., and that's the story of how I rescued a goldfish from the Target bathroom. Same thing happened to me about a year ago, except I found my fish at a bus stop all by himself on my way home from work. Got the whole setup too and is still kicking it here to this day. Someone thanking Jesus out loud after every splash. Sploosh, and that one was for you Jesus, sploosh, for dying on the cross. Someone was taking a shit and eating and talking on the phone. I was disgusted and impressed with the multitasking. I experienced something similar. I had a very spicy lunch at work. By the time I got off of work, in Chicago traffic, it finally hit me. I desperately got off on the nearest exit, took an extra 30 minutes to get to an 8-minute drive to a ramp for anyone not lucky enough to experience the traffic. Basically about to shit my pants, I get to the nearest gas station. I come into the women's bathroom praying for no one to be in there since it wasn't about to be pleasant to be in the same room. Come rushing in, and find a lady at the mirror. No biggie, she's about to leave, right? No. I sit down and start to do my business. It was not silent, both in sound nor smell. But I still hear her at the mirror, and there was a smacking sound, almost like her doing her mascara. No biggie, she'll get the hint and leave soon. Right? No. I continue. Still there. I finish and come out of the stall to her hunched over the sink, on her phone, while snacking on mini sausages. This bitch was full on enjoying herself while I was violently blowing up the bathroom. She acted completely unfazed, moved out of my way when I needed to wash my hands, and continued to stay in the bathroom when I left. Still on her phone, still eating. My sister always believed in the importance of teaching her son, even from a young age, to use the correct terminology for genitalia. There was no "that's your pee-pee" or "those are your privates." It was always "that is your penis." So the day before Christmas Eve we are doing some last-minute shopping. My nephew was mostly potty trained at this time, but still wore a diaper just in case. She goes off to do some shopping and I take him to the washroom for a change as he has had an accident. As I'm wiping him clean, he screams bloody murder in a washroom full of people and he don't touch my penis. I was fucking mortified. Worrying that people are thinking I'm molesting him. So I say loudly, yet kindly, "We have to make sure you're clean." I've never been so embarrassed in my life walking out of that stall. And to top it off, I was like 19 but definitely looked younger. TL, Doctor, my nephew screamed at me not to touch his penis in a very busy mall bathroom the day before Christmas Eve. Sitting on the toilet in a Denny's bathroom. The large plastic toilet paper holder was just missing the cover, so when I pulled on the toilet paper roll it fell off and rolled perfectly under the stall wall and fell over right behind the feet of a man standing at the urinal next door. The man must have seen it because I instantly hear him say, "Oh, I got it." "Thanks," I said, expecting him to finish his business then help me out. What I did not expect was for him to bend down to pick it up right then and there. But not how one normally bends down. I can guarantee he was midstream when he leaned over backwards like fucking Neo in the Matrix. I see his legs bend forward then see his hand reaching down behind him. He bends over far enough to grab the roll, stream still going. It was a urinal with water in the base so I could hear it. He grabs it and perfectly rolls it back over to me, gives a thumbs up, then stands straight up again. Unfucking real. Edit. I told this story at an open mic stand-up once, which was being held in a small, local theater. I tried to get the stage manager to lower the curtain to about my knee height so I could stand behind it and give the proper visual. The stage manager didn't do it and it sorta killed the bit. I'm glad my internet friends get me. I was out drinking one evening. Went to go to the bathroom and there were 3 ladies blocking the guy's bathroom. They told me I couldn't go in. It was the only bathroom in the place and I had to piss bad. I waited about 20 seconds then pushed past them. As I walk in there is one dude at the end of the line of urinals with his dick out not facing a urinal. He's giving it a pep talk saying things like "Come on bud, you can do it and don't let me down again." I take quite a long piss and he keeps talking to his dong the entire time. I exited the restroom and told my buddy what happened. He had to see it for himself so he went to the restroom. Same girls outside trying to stop him and same dude in there still trying to sweet talk his wang into doing something. Edit. Lots of speculation about this man penis going on around here. Edit. For everyone saying shy bladder. I'm not sure how facing the entrance with your dick in hand and talking it is going to help. Every stall was open. Just go squat. Was pissing at a urinal and the guy next to me said "Don't judge me, I'm a grower not a shower." I mostly ignored him, then he asked me if I wanted to buy some weed from him. But before I could answer, which would have been no, He said, well, it isn't real weed, it's fake weed, doesn't actually get you high. It's what I smoke when I'm practicing guitar. He was definitely getting high off his own supply. Not necessarily a public restroom. I worked at a financial company with over 2,000 people in one office. There are around 10 different bathrooms in the building, all with multiple stalls/urinals. Anyway, I was on my break and ran to the bathroom to relieve myself. I saw someone in one of the stalls because feet and doors were closed. As I walk up to the urinal, I hear the guy sneeze. I say bless you like people do for some reason. Guy in the stall hits me back with, that wasn't a sneeze. I just left and went to a different bathroom. What the fuck was it then? Edit, never mind, everything is horrifying. I was in a stall at work browsing Reddit after using the toilet and just killing time until my break was over. When what can I only tell was a somewhat older man shuffling his way over to the stall next to mine. He then lets out a thunderous fart and sits on the toilet and moans out, oh dear God, it's the end of days. I immediately put myself together and left that restroom before I heard any more. I would have stayed, that sounds hilarious. My under 18 self stopped at a public park restroom to take a piss. A guy perhaps in his mid-60s sidled up to me, smiled, and looked my junk up and down in the urinal. I left. Worked for a really large company and decided to use the restroom near the boardroom, more private. When I walked in, one of our board members is at a urinal wearing a suit and jacket, with his pants and undies dropped all the way to the ground. Apparently that is how this 70-year-old man has peed his entire life. Just odd. Edit, crazy, this story is my highest upvote. More impressed many of you have had similar run-ins. Click here for 10 things every CEO does to maximize each day. I was driving between Houston and Austin and stopped at a gas station to go pee. I do my business and start washing my hands when I looked up and saw a man covered head to toe in burn marks staring at me from a stall. I didn't hear or see anyone when I went inside, so I literally jumped and ran out of there. I still feel bad about it, but I like to tell myself it was a ghost so I don't feel like such an asshole. Did he wear a hat, striped shirt and a glove with knives at the fingertips? Because then you were probably dreaming. I was in the bathroom of a movie theater peeing in a urinal when I felt something tug on my shirt. I turned around and there was this little kid, had to be younger than 5. He asked if I could hold him up so he can pee in the urinal next. We are the only ones in this bathroom and I'm peeing hard because I just got out of a movie. I had such a dad moment though because I said ask your mom. He said okay and skipped out of the bathroom. I didn't even wash my hands, I just wanted to be out of there before a Dateline camera crew showed up. All these comments saying I was peeing and turned around, I'm imagining as a full body turn while still peeing, now on the floor a person behind them. Was using the urinal in the Port Authority men's room when some random guy walks up behind me and says, in a raspy voice, hey kid. I like your hair. Still peeing, I turn around and say thanks, and he says, you like pineapple? Caught off guard I ask, what? Pineapple? At this point I'm zipping my pants back up and starting to turn around to face him. He then points to underneath the wall of the first bathroom stall to a black plastic bag, like one from the liquor store, and says, yeah. You wanna buy one? I got one right there, it's delicious. Sure enough, there's a black plastic bag with a pineapple sticking out of it on the floor of the Port Authority men's room. I told him I was allergic to pineapple, he seemed shocked and, quite frankly, really sad that I couldn't eat. Subscribe for more amazing stories, I said subscribe now. Otherwise this will open the door and eat you when you are asleep.